probably like anyone thinks about the Dalton Highway. When you first go up, you're like, oh, this ain't so bad. Everyone's talking like it's this blah, blah, blah. Then the more you go, you're like, oh, I get it now.
She was the blonde with the wheel, the only woman on a show full of grizzled men, hauling 80,000 pounds of steel across frozen lakes that could swallow her truck whole. For a decade, millions watched Lisa Kelly stare down death on the most dangerous roads on Earth. Then the show ended, and the cameras went away. Most reality stars vanish into normal life. When that happens, Lisa Kelly did the opposite. She is still out there, still driving, and in 2025, she came roaring back in a way nobody expected. The girl from Michigan who found Alaska. Before we get to where she is now, you have to understand where Lisa Kelly came from, because almost nothing about her path was ordinary. She was born on December 8, 1980, in Grand Rapids, Michigan. But she did not stay a Michigan girl for long. When she was 6 years old, her family packed up and moved to a small farm in Sterling, Alaska. And that move shaped everything that came after. Because Alaska is not a place that rewards the timid. It is a place of extreme cold, endless wilderness, and roads that test the people who dare to drive them. As a young woman, she actually tried the conventional route first. She went back to Michigan and enrolled at Cornerstone University. She lasted 1 semester before deciding college was not for her. So she went home to Alaska and started living a life that was anything but conventional. Before she ever climbed into a big rig, Lisa Kelly did a little bit of everything. She drove a school bus, she worked at gas stations, she worked for a pizza company, and in her spare time, she became a force on a dirt bike, competing as a freestyle motocross champion. This was not a woman looking for a safe, quiet existence. She was drawn to speed, to risk, to machines. In fact, the love of motorcycles would later introduce her to the man she would marry. But that is a story for a little later. Eventually, she decided to try trucking for a simple reason. It looked interesting. She got hired by Carlisle Transportation, one of the biggest carriers in Alaska. She started out driving a delivery van, then earned her commercial license, and worked her way up to the most demanding job the company had: the haul road, the Dalton Highway. It is a route that punishes the inexperienced and humbles the overconfident, a frozen artery stretching hundreds of miles through total wilderness, and she learned to run it like she was born to it. And it was there, on one of the most isolated and dangerous stretches of road in North America, that a television producer was about to discover her. The only woman on the ice. In 2009, the History Channel show Ice Road Truckers was looking for something it had never had before: a woman driver. The show had already become a hit by following truckers who hauled freight across frozen lakes and treacherous winter roads, where a single mistake meant plunging through the ice into water cold enough to kill in minutes. But it was a world dominated entirely by men. The producers at Original Productions wanted to change that, and Lisa Kelly's boss at Carlisle recommended her for the job. She debuted in Season 3, and the impact was immediate. Here was a young woman holding her own against veteran male truckers, handling a massive rig on roads that terrified grown men, and doing it with a calm, down-to-earth toughness that audiences instantly connected with. She became a breakout star almost overnight. The recognition came fast, and it came loud. In 2010, Esquire magazine named her the sexiest trucker alive. She landed a guest spot on The Late Show with David Letterman. A young producer on the show gave her a nickname that would stick to her for the rest of her career: the Arctic Fox. But here is something the glossy magazine profiles did not tell you, and it is the kind of detail that reveals who Lisa Kelly really is. She has said that when she was first hired, she was essentially told she was there to be eye candy. And for the first 2 or 3 years on the show, she did not even get paid by the production. Her trucking company paid her a little extra instead. The woman who became the face of the series was, at the start, treated as decoration and compensated with almost nothing. She has also been candid that being a woman in that world meant the bar was set higher for her. She has said she had to work twice as hard, that she had to pull her own weight and everybody else's, and get the job done as fast or faster than the men around her. She did exactly that, and it took her to some of the deadliest roads on the planet. The deadliest roads on Earth. Ice Road Truckers was dangerous enough on its own, but the show spun off into something even more extreme, called IRT Deadliest Roads, and Lisa Kelly went where almost no one else would. In 2010, the show sent its drivers to India, into the Himalayas, to navigate mountain passes that make a frozen Alaskan lake look gentle by comparison. These were narrow dirt tracks carved into the sides of cliffs, with 1,000-foot drops inches from the tires, no guardrails, and oncoming traffic on roads barely wide enough for one vehicle. Drivers on that trip quit. The conditions broke them. Lisa Kelly became the only North American driver to complete the journey. The following year, the show took her to South America, to Bolivia and Peru, to drive the infamous Death Road through the Andes, another route notorious for claiming the lives of the people who attempt it. What made these journeys remarkable was not just the danger, but how Lisa Kelly handled it. While male drivers around her panicked, broke down, or abandoned the trip entirely, she kept her composure and kept moving. On the Himalayan passes, she has described looking out her window and seeing nothing but air, the edge of the road dropping away into a void hundreds of feet deep. The trucks were old, underpowered, and unfamiliar, with brakes she could not fully trust. And still, she pressed on, mile after mile, completing a route that defeated nearly everyone else who tried it. Across her years on the show, she had moments that could have ended her life. She once described sliding her truck backwards off a hill while she was chaining up the tires, forcing her to leap over a guardrail and roll down to safety as the rig went. She talked about keeping her truck door open while crossing questionable ice, ready to jump out if she felt it give way beneath her. In one memorable rescue, her co-star Daryl Ward had to use a loader to pull her truck out when the river ice started to break. Lisa Kelly herself has always been honest that reality television dramatizes and edits heavily. She has said that trucking is actually really boring, right up until the moment it becomes really exciting. But the roads were real, the cold was real, and the risk of going through the ice was absolutely real. No amount of editing could manufacture the Himalayas or a cracking frozen river. That co-star, Daryl Ward, would become one of the most important people in her professional life, and his story would bring the single greatest heartbreak of her time on the show. Daryl Ward and the crash that changed everything. By 2015, Lisa Kelly and Daryl Ward had become more than just two faces on the same TV show. They had become genuine partners. That year, Ward left the company he had been driving for and started his own trucking business, D. Ward Trucking, and he brought Lisa Kelly in with him. By the following season, the business was in full swing, the two of them building something real together off-camera, beyond the world of reality television. To fans of the show, their bond was one of the best things about it. Then, on August 28, 2016, tragedy struck. Daryl Ward was a passenger in a small single-engine plane when it crashed near Clinton, Montana. He was killed, along with the pilot. He was just 52 years old. He had only just left a major trucking trade show in Dallas and was flying to Montana to film a pilot for a new project. In an instant, he was gone. For Lisa Kelly, the loss was devastating, and it was made even harder by the fact that the show had to keep going. When she went back to film the next season without him, the reality of it hit her in full. She has said it did not really sink in until she returned and her partner was no longer there. She also described the enormous pressure it put on her because Daryl had handled so much of the business side of things, and now all of it fell on her shoulders. She did not walk away. Instead, she brought in Daryl's son, Reno Ward, to help her keep the company running. She carried forward the business her late friend had built, honoring him by refusing to let it die with him. It was a glimpse of the resilience that would define the next chapter of her life, after the cameras finally stopped rolling for good. When the show ended, In November of 2017, after 11 seasons, Ice Road Truckers aired what would be its final original episode. The show was not dramatically canceled. It simply went quiet, drifting into a long hiatus that would last 8 years. For most reality television stars, this is the moment the story ends. The show that made them famous disappears, and so do they. They fade from public view, pop up occasionally in Where Are They Now articles, and the world moves on. Lisa Kelly refused to follow that script. The single most important thing to understand about her is that the trucking was never an act. It was never a character she played for the cameras. It was her actual life, her actual profession, the thing she genuinely loved doing. So when the show ended, she did not need to reinvent herself or chase the next reality gig. She just kept doing the job. She stayed on the Dalton Highway, the same brutal haul road that had launched her career. The route runs roughly 1,000 miles round trip, from Fairbanks all the way up to Prudhoe Bay on the Arctic coast, hauling fuel through some of the most punishing conditions on the continent. Year after year, while audiences assumed she had vanished, Lisa Kelly was still out there, still running the ice, still doing exactly what she had always done. But she was not just driving for someone else anymore. She was about to build something of her own. Lisa Kelly's life now. Here is where Lisa Kelly's story becomes genuinely inspiring, and where it goes far beyond what the typical "Where is she now?" video will tell you. Somewhere around 2021, Lisa relocated to the Fairbanks area for a new opportunity and set up her own shop. She bought her own truck, a Peterbilt, and made the leap that every trucker dreams about. She became an owner-operator. That means she is no longer just an employee driving someone else's rig. She owns her truck. She runs her own business. She is the boss. Her company has a name that fits her perfectly: Arctic Fox Trucking, taken from the nickname that followed her all those years. The woman who was once told she was hired to be eye candy and went unpaid for years now owns and operates her own trucking outfit in one of the harshest environments on Earth. And she has been refreshingly clear about what she wants out of this stage of her life. She has said she is at the age now where she is exactly where she wants to be in her career. She does not want a fleet of trucks. She does not want a pile of employees. She does not want to build an empire. She has said she really likes simply hooking up to her tanker and driving to Prudhoe Bay and back to Fairbanks again. After everything, after the fame and the danger and the loss, what she wants is the work itself. There is something quietly powerful about that. But trucking is not the only thing filling her life now. Lisa Kelly has become a horse breeder. On her Alaska property, she raises and rescues horses, including Tennessee Walkers, Gypsy Vanners, and miniature horses. She has spoken openly about the hardships that come with it too, including the heartbreak of losing a foal and an injury in 2024 when one of her horses stepped on her leg. She channels some of those experiences into music, using an app to create songs that process the things she goes through. She has also stayed connected to her fans on her own terms, running a YouTube channel with live streams and maintaining a presence online, even taking the time to warn her followers about imposter accounts that try to scam people by pretending to be her. She lent her voice to a trucking video game and became a playable character in it. She is, in every sense, still very much in the game. It is worth pausing on just how adventurous Lisa Kelly's life is beyond the truck, because it explains a lot about who she is. Over the years, she has been a dirt bike racer, a snowboarder, a horseback rider, and she has even gone hang gliding and skydiving. She has flown with the United States Navy Blue Angels. This is a person with a genuine, deep-rooted appetite for adrenaline, someone who has spent her whole life seeking out the edge of what is possible and standing on it. The ice road was not an aberration in her life. It was simply the most public expression of a personality that has always run toward danger rather than away from it. She has also never pretended the work is easy on a person. Back during the original run of the show, she took an entire year off, sitting out a full season to protect her own physical and mental well-being. It was a quiet but telling decision. Even at the height of her fame, she understood that the punishing grind of that life had limits, and she was willing to step back to take care of herself. That same self-awareness is what now lets her say plainly that she has everything she wants and does not need more. And then, in 2025, came the twist that brought her full circle. The return. After 8 years off the air, the History Channel announced that Ice Road Truckers was coming back, Season 12, and Lisa Kelly was returning with it. The revived season premiered on October 1st, 2025. For longtime fans, it was a reunion with the driver who had been the heart of the show. But this time, Lisa Kelly came back as a different person than the young woman who had debuted in Season 3 16 years earlier. She came back as a seasoned veteran, a business owner, an owner-operator who had never stopped doing the work, returning to television on her own terms. By the time of the revival, she was 44 years old, and the years had only deepened her standing as one of the most respected drivers the show ever produced. She slotted back in alongside other veterans and a group of rookies, the experienced hand showing the new generation how it is done. Her personal life has shifted in these years too. According to the History Channel's own profile of her tied to the show's return, Lisa went through a divorce. She had been married to a man she met back in 2004 while buying a motorcycle, and they wed in 2008. But the demands of her life on the road and a husband who lived a very different kind of life eventually pulled the marriage apart. The channel says she has since found a new relationship with a fellow trucker, someone who, in their words, speaks her language. After years of her partner not fully sharing her world, she found someone who lives in it alongside her. As for the money, Lisa Kelly's net worth is most commonly estimated at around $500,000, a figure that surprises some people who assume a decade of television fame must have made her rich. But it reflects the honest reality of ice road work. This was never a path to fabulous riches. Remember, for the first 2 or 3 years on the show, she was not even paid by the production. And even at the height of the series, the money in trucking was never extravagant. One of her fellow drivers on the revived season put it bluntly, saying a trucker could make somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 in a season, but only by working himself to the bone for 3.5 months straight in brutal cold, on roads that could kill him. That is not easy money. That is hazard pay, earned 1 frozen mile at a time. You will see wild numbers floating around the internet, claims that she is worth millions. But those figures are unverified and appear to be invented by aggregator sites chasing clicks. The truth is more grounded and, frankly, more admirable. Lisa Kelly built a comfortable, stable life out of one of the hardest jobs on the planet. She owns her truck. She owns her business. She has her horses and her property in Alaska. By any honest measure, she is doing well, but she is not famous rich, and she has never pretended to be. And that is exactly the point. Lisa Kelly never did this for the fortune. If money had been the goal, there were 1,000 easier ways to chase it than driving a fuel tanker to the edge of the Arctic Ocean and back. She did it because she loves it. She did it because the road, the cold, the machine, and the challenge are simply who she is. The paycheck was never the reward. The drive itself was. Lisa Kelly is the rarest kind of reality star, the kind who was never playing a role at all. While others faded, she kept driving, built her own company, and came back to television on her own terms. The Arctic Fox is still out there on the ice, exactly where she belongs. If you liked this, hit like and subscribe, and make sure to check out our other videos.